This week on Arizona Illustrated, Epicenter, treating psychosis in a new way.
My hope is that I just keep recovering every day and improving, even though we have mental illness. And that doesn't make us any less of a person.
Sharing the same desert with rattlesnakes.
There's a healthy respect for them. They're not my friends. I don't pick them up, I don't pet them. I respect what they do, and I hope they leave me alone too.
And Oliver's journey, a transgender teen.
Why can't you just be a girl that, like, you know, has short hair and stuff like that? And I'm like, but because I'm not a girl with short hair. Like, that's just not what I am.
Welcome to Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. Athletes and celebrities like Kevin Love, Selena Gomez, and DeMar DeRozan are helping to break the stigma that surrounds mental illness by being open about their own mental health challenges. Yet psychotic disorders like schizophrenia remain highly stigmatized, and that hinders people from getting the help they need. Psychosis is a leading cause of mental disability worldwide, and it usually strikes the young during their teen years and early 20s. Now, a new center aims to treat psychosis early on and prevent disability. It's based on an innovative program that started here in southern Arizona, and it's designed in part by the young people it will serve.
I kind of like Thomas a little bit because it's like a little bit more of a name for somebody who's grown up, but I still get called Tommy a lot too, so. I remember I really liked playing baseball as a kid. When everything was going together and I didn't have an injury or something, I just felt like the sky was the limit. That was pretty much what my whole life was back then. It was around my freshman year. When I was driving, I saw all these lightning that I kind of thought was striking right close to me. I could always hear my dad and my mom like upset. I heard voices of them kind of telling me that I was doing bad, and it was kind of hard to concentrate when there was so much going on inside. And that's where things kind of just spiraled downward from there.
This picture. This is my favorite picture because we went to this batting cage. It was in a cow field. I said, I'll give you $100 if you can hit the ball in the batting cage into the trash can. 5 pitches later, I had to pay $100. He was a good hitter. He followed me around the house one time, and he was telling me I needed to be careful. I couldn't go to work. Something bad was going to happen to me. It scared the hell out of me.
Within 2 years, Thomas was diagnosed with schizophrenia. It's a psychotic disorder, which means it affects a person's sense of reality. In the US, about 100,000 young people experience psychosis every year. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, most go at least a year, and many go for several before getting the help they need.
They would release him, and other than guessing medications, there really wasn't significant treatment.
The longer someone goes without treatment, the worse the outcomes. On average, people living with psychotic disorders die 25 years younger than the general population. Up to 10% die by suicide.
This is, I think, when we were moving him home. I'm a lawyer. I understand reading documents. I have no idea how someone with mental illness who didn't have resources or didn't have someone else helping them specifically, how they would figure out anything to get in the system. All right, you ready? And even when you're in the system, the type of help that you get is lacking. Tommy gets benefits of $331 a month, which wouldn't even pay for a place to live. The tragedy of this whole thing is if you don't have resources, you're not going to get help.
After seeking treatment at multiple facilities in Arizona and California, Thomas's family found out about a place called IMHR Epicenter in downtown Phoenix.
IMHR Epicenter, this is Stephanie. How can I help you? Okay. Number one priority is you feel better, okay? And I will let them know. All right? Hey, Steph. Can I talk to you a second about coverage? Yes, ma'am.
The Early Psychosis Intervention Center, or Epicenter, is based on a model first developed and still active at the University of Arizona.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
The model addresses all the facets of a person's life, from family relationships to job skills, that are affected by psychosis.
And their last appointment would be at 5. And
This model was founded on the fact that if you can get in early and you can provide this menu of services all at the same time and really support the person who's experiencing psychosis, you can actually manage those symptoms and re-enter your everyday life much quicker. Okay? But we can talk about it.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Instead of reacting, let's be proactive and get somebody healthy as quickly as possible.
Everything about Phoenix's Epicenter is tailored toward engaging young people in treatment, including how it looks. The clinic asked youth who are living with mental illness to help design the space.
And they literally said it needs to be bright colors and it needs to be young and youthful and have energy and look like a place that is alive.
Hi.
Do you mind signing this really quick?
Sure. All right.
Did you see the date?
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
3 celebrities you'd want to go on a road trip with.
Mario Lopez, Ryan Gosling, George Clooney.
Along with counseling and medications, clients can work with a vocational rehabilitation counselor to get back to work or school, attend peer or family groups to find support during treatment, or meet with a peer support specialist who has firsthand experience living with mental illness.
So that it's just this whole holistic approach to health. We are addressing every part of this person's well-being. And I think that's what makes it different.
I think we did the Simple Choice Auditory.
Yeah.
Is that the last one we did? Do you remember?
Epicenter combines that holistic approach with cognitive remediation. It's a computer-based training that sharpens attention, memory, and processing of things you see or hear. All of those abilities suffer when psychosis goes untreated.
Good.
Yeah.
Thoughts about that?
There was one error, so I could have done better on that one. I tried to guess. I expect better of myself, I guess.
I wonder if sometimes when you don't meet those expectations that you have for yourself, you feel bad. Is that what happens?
Yeah, in some situations.
What would happen if I tell you that you did a great job, even with that?
I would feel good.
Yeah, it's true. You did a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Data compiled over the past 8 years show that Epicenter's approach works. Yet fewer than 100 clinics like Epicenter exist across the country. Health insurance coverage is one major hurdle. Many insurance companies won't pay for Epicenter services that go beyond conventional treatment.
Yeah, that works.
It really is taking behavioral health and making it manageable, making it known, making it about relationships, and not just this ginormous kind of conveyor belt of treatment. We have a new staff person today. The second week in a row, we get to welcome a new person. And then all the kudos go up on our kudo board, which is on the clinic side on the wall. Thank you for being such a team player and covering staff as needed. Thank you so much. Good job, Amy.
Amy Jackson was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder when she was 22 years old. She knows the damage that conveyor belt treatment can do.
It was like, you're 22, your life's over. Haha. And then it was kind of like every door was just, all of them were shut at once. don't bother with going back to school, don't bother with having a family, don't bother with having a career, and it's going to be 10 pills in the morning and 10 pills at night, and that's what your future is. In June, we're going to work on mindfulness and meditation, kind of.
Now, as Epicenter's peer support specialist, she helps others find the hope she once couldn't.
We're there to actually tell them something different. We're there to say, no, your life's not over. You're gonna have to work a little harder at some of these things. You're gonna have to learn some new skills that you might not have known, but you can still do whatever you want. We just have to find the path that works for you to get you to where you wanna be.
He was just accepted at ASU last month. We're very happy about that. That's a great accomplishment. He has a job, part-time. Well, he's just a normal 24-year-old kid.
Studio in downtown Phoenix. KALV-FM Phoenix and HD1.
I'm really glad that I did find Epicenter because it reminds me to believe in people, and then maybe they'll believe in you. Even though we have mental illness, some of us, that doesn't make us any less of a person. I just kind of wanted to let people know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
As temperatures rise and summer surrounds us with blooming flowers, busy insects, young birds, and lounging lizards, it's also a time when rattlesnakes are no longer in hibernation. They are active, and that can make some of us anxious. Arizona has more than a dozen species of rattlesnakes, and while many people aren't particularly excited about that, some naturalists are urging patience and cooperation with our reptilian neighbors.
Hummingbirds and other popular colorful birds or butterflies are often called beautiful, brilliant, and even mystical. Bighorn sheep and other well-liked mammals are cute, energetic, and cuddly. But when it comes to snakes, specifically rattlesnakes and other venomous creatures, the descriptions can be very divergent. Aggressive, dangerous, slimy, and scary usually come to mind.
The list of rattlesnake myths and just snake myths in general is endless. Sure, I agree.
For Jeff Smith and Melissa Amarillo, myths, perceptions, and negative attitudes make up some of the biggest roadblocks they encounter in their quest to protect rattlesnakes and related reptiles.
Diamondback.
Amarillo and Smith are the founders of Advocates for Snake Preservation, a group that promotes conservation and coexistence with snakes.
We have a western diamondback rattlesnake that was moving across the trail. It was maybe 5 to 10 yards in front of me, and it gave just a little warning rattle, a really slow kind of tail shake, and it continued to move off into the weeds here and just coiled up at the base of this tree. That's very typical behavior for a rattlesnake. It doesn't want to be in the way. It gave me a warning that it was there, and it just got out of my way as quick as it could. All right, I'd love to see a blacktail. This is another western diamondback. So this is a female.
Amarillo believes snakes definitely need a break. They've been cast as villains or malicious animals for centuries.
A lot of us grew up with that story from the Bible of Adam and Eve, and all evil basically came from this one individual snake, or the devil looking like a snake, but the snake very much embodies evil. Most people are scared of snakes. For a lot of people, this turns into just an outright hatred, and that in many places has turned into persecuting snakes.
And this includes events such as rattlesnake roundups, which attract tourists and their money to communities across the country. The reptiles are intentionally gathered and frequently exterminated.
We don't have large festivals where people collect thousands of tigers, for instance, and kill them for entertainment and profit. But that's something that happens every year in the U.S. with rattlesnakes. We want them to be given a fair shake, if you will, for a rattlesnake.
Amarillo says rattlesnakes are not out to kill us because we are not their prey. They would never be able to eat a human being, although they can strike if you get too close, step on them, or try to handle them. Many animals will hunt rattlesnakes for food, including eagles, roadrunners, bobcats, and coyotes, and the snake tries to protect itself.
So right there, This is where the little cotton rat lives in here. And this is where the snakes will go, frequent these areas, to try to get the creature.
Christopher Vincent and his partner Mary Ellen Landon are also supportive of respecting snakes.
So when people are worried about snakes by their home, as long as they don't create an environment for them, they won't be right next to their house.
Vincent and Landon operate WOW Arizona, a nonprofit organization north of Tucson that focuses on getting people outside to enjoy the environment. For them, there is no good species or bad species. Rattlesnakes are just a natural part of the local landscape.
I think they all belong here. There's no deep religious or philosophical aspect, just watching how they all work together. One is prey for another is prey for another. Taking photos of even little insects, then you blow them up and there's an insect parasitizing that.
Vincent and Landon have even named their resident rattlesnakes.
Pretty brow Floyd, George, or Susuza, or Cartman's our biggest favorite. He's big and fat and healthy.
The reptiles are not pets, however, and they are still treated as the wild animals that they are. Human paths are cleared for visibility, and guests are reminded to stay alert and keep their distance.
There's a healthy respect for them. They're not my friends. I don't pick them up, I don't pet them. I respect what they do, and I hope they leave me alone too.
That's a very good question.
By using science and education, Amarillo also hones in on respect, awareness, and being cautious around snakes. Don't approach them or harass them, she says, to captive audiences.
I don't want to call it licking because it doesn't feel like it, but so he's sniffing. That's what he's doing.
She's equipped with a group of non-venomous, gentle snakes that don't mind handling and rattlesnakes that remain in their enclosures. Those are for looking, not for touching.
A good rule of thumb, even though, snakes are nice, I want you guys to like snakes, I want you to appreciate snakes, but because we do live someplace where we have snakes that can potentially hurt you, and it's really painful and really expensive if it happens, if you don't know 100% sure what it is and your parents aren't there to also tell you it's okay, don't pick them up. The other thing that's different about
my take on snakes, if they hold them, it's good. I don't know that I want to hold them. It's okay with me. They don't bother me. I don't want one in my house. But I think it's very educational, and I think it's really good for us to learn about them, learn everything we can about them. The way she was holding them, it opened my eyes a little bit.
Advocates for snake preservation admit it isn't always an easy sell. They cannot rely on a fluffy black and white panda as a mascot, for example, or a bold vermilion flycatcher, which appears so pleasant to a lot of people. Still, the advocates take their message wherever possible, because if snakes can thrive in healthy habitats, they say, other creatures, including humans, will also do well.
I have loved snakes since I was a little kid, but for a while I worked with birds. I worked with peregrine falcons, I worked with California condors, and I came back to snakes because I thought they really needed someone. Even among scientists, snakes are not as popular to study, but snakes don't have an advocate. I know I'm not going to turn everyone into snake-obsessed crazies like me, but I think we can all respect them and appreciate them and just, let them do their thing, like every other animal that's here.
Transgender is a term used to describe someone whose gender identity, their personal sense of being male or female, is different from the one written down on their birth certificate. Early last year, producer Gisela Tellis spent some time with Oliver, a transgender teen who shared his experience being a trans kid. Oliver's journey reveals the challenges you can face for just being who you are.
I feel like a lot of trans kids, especially the younger trans kids, it's like they always knew, like trans boys who always wanted their hair cut, wanted to wear, baggy shorts and t-shirts. They're like, I was never a girl. But it's weird because I felt like a long time growing up, I didn't feel anything weird about it.
Right before high school started, he came to us in the summer and he told us that he wanted to be called by a different name. And we were confused, why? And he said that he just wanted a more gender neutral name. It was probably in February 2 years ago that he told us, I'm a boy. That was it, I'm a boy, and I want my name to be Oliver. So that was it. We were pretty freaked out.
They loved me, they supported me. There was never a moment of like, we like you less for this, but there was a lot of like, just not understanding it. Me and my mom would like sit down and have talks about this, and it would be so frustrating to me. She was like, why can't you just be a girl that like, you know, has short hair and stuff like that? And I'm like, but because I'm not a girl with short hair. Like, that's just not what I am.
By the time he came out to his parents as a transgender male, Oliver Wagner had been thinking about his gender identity for a while. But he had also been battling depression and anxiety since as early as 6th grade.
It's like getting out of bed is like the worst thing to do. Like, you just don't want to do anything. And I get like that. Like, I just sort of hide myself away and like don't feel any motivation to do anything. I just feel awful and just like really like wound up, I guess is the word. Like it was just like a lot all at once, and it would just get overwhelming for me. No.
I think it was a typo. I felt that he was having a hard time when like we started arguing a lot more, and it was like I don't know, he just seemed different.
We didn't grasp what was going on as far as his mental health was concerned. It was just like, why are you being like this, you know? Why does everything have to be so dramatic, you know? I just wanted peace. We just didn't get it at all. And even though I work in the mental health field, it's 100% different when it's your own kid.
In his junior year in high school, Oliver attempted suicide. According to health researcher Russell Toomey, who specializes in minority populations, the odds were stacked against Oliver and other individuals who identify as transgender, gay, lesbian, bisexual, or queer, or LGBTQ.
We know from about 30 years of research now that lesbian, gay, and bisexual individuals are at heightened risk or experience more depression, suicide, ideation, more suicide attempts, more anxiety, more substance use compared to people who identify as straight or heterosexual. So that risk is about 2 to 6 times the rates that we see among heterosexuals. We know directly from research that experiences of victimization, discrimination, bullying related to one's identity is associated with more depression, more anxiety, and that these factors then contribute to things like suicide ideation or suicide attempts.
After his suicide attempt, Oliver was hospitalized, and that's when everything changed.
That was what set off, like, Mom, I need to have therapy, and you need to make me go, and like, we need to step through this because I don't want to have to do this again. Like, I don't want to go through that again because it sucked.
The Wagners tried multiple therapists, but no one clicked for Oliver.
You have to like play this guessing game of like, is this person educated about this, or am I gonna have to be educating this grown person with like a PhD, which is horrible. Like, it's the worst. I felt like I knew I needed therapy and I needed that sort of place, and I never got it.
Then the Wagners found Living Out Loud, a health and wellness center specifically geared for the LGBTQ community. It's the first and only center of its kind in Arizona, and it aims to offer counseling, mental health and primary care, help with job placement and housing, support groups, and even social events, all without judgment.
When we first opened, some of the members that came in referred to this place as home. And when they said home, they really meant the ideal home of being accepted, and very simple things like offering them water or offering them some snacks. Very simple things made it seem like you matter, you're welcome here, you belong here, this is yours.
We do know that when that support does exist, that LGBT youth have much better health outcomes. So there is a great study out of the University of Washington that looks at children who are transgender identified. And they compare them to this sample of non-transgender identified kids in Seattle. And the transgender youth in this sample are supported by their families. And when they compare those two populations on mental health outcomes, there is no difference.
For Oliver and his family, finding supportive and knowledgeable care at Living Out Loud was transformative.
It was like, okay, this clicked, this worked. This is finally what I've been waiting for, something that's going to help him.
It's just really nice to go in somewhere and not think like, you know, the person who checks you in is like judging you or your kid, or, you know, like they're not doing that there. They're just amazing.
Being able to go to a therapist who like gets it and gets how hard it is being trans and being gay and being all these different things, like, is just great. Like it makes it easier, if even just a little bit.
Helping Oliver heal and continue his transition helped his family heal too, in ways they never expected.
You feel like you're grieving the loss of one child even though you're gaining a different child. It's just, it's a change. That's not the kid you thought you had, but I mean, it's still a great kid, it's just a different one. So it was hard at first, but it ended up ultimately being probably one of the greatest things that happened in our family, honestly.
Oh, got him. No.
Definitely, it's opened my eyes to more experiences, to meet people, to just be more open-minded. And that's, I love that has happened because of this. To just be more accepting of people, you know, just not because, you know, they're gay or they're trans or they're, you know, whatever. They're just people. It just gives me like more of a sense of purpose to help make the world a little better place, you know?
Now Oliver is finishing his senior year and looking forward to college. He's hopeful, even though he knows there will be challenges ahead, too.
You're in such a more vulnerable position being LGBTQ, and you're more likely to be bullied, and you're more likely to be victims of abuse. It's harder to get jobs, it's harder to do everything because people are so like bigoted about it. They're like, well, that's disgusting, so I'm not gonna, like, no. So like, no wonder you're so more likely to be suicidal or depressed or mentally ill, because like, you have the weight of the world on your shoulders because you can't get like your basic necessities met because people like don't think you deserve those basic necessities. And then knowing that makes you feel like so much worse. You're like, great, like I'm a useless human being, no one cares about me, because that's what people are telling you. I'm really like lucky to be in the position I'm in. My parents are awesome. I want to just be able to get a job and get married and have like a dog and like just live a more stable and normal life, I guess. And like be in a place where I feel okay enough to do that, you know?
Thank you for joining us here on Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. See you next week.